The vast emptiness of space held a secret that would change everything. Drifting silently between distant star systems, a massive human cryo vessel appeared like a ghostly monument to a forgotten civilization. The Alien Confederation's scout ship, commanded by Elder Craxus, detected the vessel's faint energy signature during a routine patrol. Hyun Park lay suspended in a technological sleep, his body preserved by advanced cryogenic systems developed in the late 22nd century. Around him, thousands of other humans remained frozen, a time capsule of humanity's last desperate attempt to survive a catastrophic global conflict. The alien scanners slowly mapped the vessel's intricate systems. Something about this human ship was different from any technological remnant they had encountered before. Elder Craxus felt a strange tension among his crew, a mixture of hope and apprehension. As their ship carefully approached the human vessel, strange readings began to emerge. The cryopods were not just preservation chambers. They were complex life support systems with multiple backup protocols. Each pod contained not just a body, but entire genetic and memory archives of its occupant. Sang Min, the ship's primary systems analyst, discovered an encrypted data core that seemed to contain comprehensive information about human military and technological capabilities. The encryption was unlike anything the aliens had seen. Complex, multi-layered, and incredibly sophisticated. "We might have found our last hope," Elder Craxus muttered, his reptilian features reflecting a mix of desperation and curiosity. The Void Swarm had been systematically destroying their civilization, consuming entire planetary systems with ruthless efficiency. Their population was down to less than 1 million, and each passing solar cycle brought them closer to complete extinction. The human vessel represented more than just a potential technological solution. It was a lifeline, a final chance for survival that seemed almost miraculous. The aliens had heard legends about humans, warriors who had fought countless internal and external conflicts, a species known for its incredible adaptability and resilience. Carefully, they began the delicate process of extracting the first cryopod. Advanced robotic systems worked with precision, ensuring that the complex preservation mechanisms were not damaged. Hours turned into days as they meticulously prepared for the awakening. Hyun Park's pod was selected first. The system's diagnostic protocol suggested he was a military commander, someone trained in strategic thinking and leadership. As the pod's systems slowly initiated the revival sequence, the aliens watched with a mixture of scientific curiosity and desperate hope. Temperature stabilizers activated, neural connection protocols engaged, cellular regeneration systems began their intricate work. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Hyun Park started to return to consciousness. The alien medical team had prepared extensive protocols for potential physiological complications. They knew human biology was complex and potentially unpredictable. Specialized translators and communication devices were positioned carefully around the revival chamber. When Hyun Park's eyes finally opened, the entire alien crew held their collective breath. Would he understand their situation? Would he be willing to help a species completely alien to him? The fate of an entire civilization might depend on this single moment of awakening. His first words, spoken in a slightly raspy voice, would determine everything. The survival of two species hung in a delicate balance, waiting for a human who had been asleep for centuries to make a decision that could change the course of galactic history. The cryo vessel represented more than just a technological marvel. It was a testament to human determination, a final message sent into the cosmos by a civilization that refused to simply fade away. And now, that message was about to be delivered by Hyun Park, a warrior awakened from a long and dreamless sleep. Elder Craxus watched carefully, knowing that the next few moments would either bring salvation or confirm their species' impending doom. The vast emptiness of space seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would happen next. The alien research facility buzzed with nervous energy as Ji-won Kim began examining the human technological archives. Screens filled with complex data streams, revealing layers of forgotten human knowledge that seemed almost magical to the alien researchers. Hyun Park stood beside her, his military background helping to interpret the most critical technological insights. The archives contained something extraordinary: decades of human innovation compressed into compact data clusters. Each file represented a potential solution to the alien civilization's desperate fight against the Void Swarm. These weapon systems are unlike anything we've seen, Ji-won muttered, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. She discovered designs for quantum adaptive combat networks that could think and respond faster than any traditional AI. The humans had developed technologies that anticipated enemy movements before they even happened. Sang-Min Lee worked nearby, taking apart recovered human military equipment. Each component seemed to tell a story of innovation born from countless conflicts, small devices that could reconfigure themselves, adaptive materials that could change properties instantly, communication, systems that could penetrate any known interference. The alien confederation watched in growing amazement. These humans were not just soldiers, they were complete problem solvers. Their technology reflected a species that had learned to survive through constant adaptation. Every piece of equipment told a story of overcoming impossible challenges. One particularly interesting discovery was a compact neural interface system. It allowed soldiers to communicate and coordinate without traditional communication methods. The system could link multiple individuals into a single tactical network, sharing information and strategy instantaneously. Hyun Park explained how humans had developed these technologies during multiple global conflicts. Each war pushed their technological boundaries, creating solutions that seemed impossible just decades earlier. The aliens realized they were looking at more than just military tech. They were seeing the evolution of a species. The weapon redesign process began immediately. Alien ships were retrofitted with human-inspired quantum communication systems. Energy weapons were modified to use adaptive targeting protocols. Defense systems were completely reconstructed using principles found in human military archives. Ji-won discovered something even more fascinating: human genetic modification research. The archives suggested that humans had been experimenting with enhancing their own biological capabilities. Survival was not just about technology, but about constantly improving themselves. Sang-Min's team worked around the clock, translating human technical documents. They found designs for nano-repair systems, adaptive armor, and communication technologies that could work across multiple dimensional frequencies. Each discovery felt like unlocking another layer of a complex puzzle. The alien leadership watched these developments with a mixture of hope and concern. These humans represented an entirely different approach to warfare and survival. Where the alien civilization had relied on traditional strategic thinking, humans seemed to embrace constant innovation. Hyun Park became more than just a survivor. He became a bridge between two civilizations. His knowledge and understanding helped the aliens comprehend the complex human technological philosophy. It wasn't just about creating weapons, but about solving problems in ways nobody had considered before. As days turned into weeks, the transformation became clear. Alien ships began to look different. Their systems incorporated human-inspired technologies. The rigid traditional design gave way to more flexible, adaptive configurations. The most remarkable change was in the thinking itself. The aliens were learning to think like humans, seeing challenges as opportunities for innovation. Each problem became a chance to create something entirely new, rather than simply responding to existing threats. The Void Swarm had never encountered an enemy that could adapt so quickly. The combination of alien determination and human innovative spirit created something entirely unexpected. A new form of technological warfare was being born, one that could potentially change the entire galactic conflict. Hyun Park looked at the transformed research facility and allowed himself a slight smile. Humanity's legacy would not be forgotten. Instead, it would become the key to saving an entire civilization, a final, unexpected gift from a species that had always been defined by its ability to survive against impossible odds. The alien command center transformed into a bustling hub of preparation. Yoonji Choi stood at the center, her fingers dancing across complex holographic displays. She had spent weeks integrating human communication technologies into the alien defense systems. Hyun Park watched carefully, his military experience guiding every strategic decision. The quantum communication network they were building was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It could transmit information faster than light, adapt to changing battlefield conditions, and predict enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Sang-Min Lee worked on weapon calibrations, combining alien technology with human tactical designs. They discovered that human military protocols emphasized flexibility and rapid response. Traditional alien warfare relied on rigid battle plans, but humans had always believed in adapting quickly. The Void Swarm's previous attacks had been devastating. They consumed entire planetary systems, leaving nothing but molecular debris. Now, for the first time, there was a real chance of resistance. The human archives revealed multiple strategies for fighting technologically superior enemies. Training simulations became brutal and intense. Alien soldiers learned human combat techniques that seemed almost impossible. They practiced fighting in multiple dimensions, using terrain as a weapon, and thinking several steps ahead of their enemy. The human approach to warfare was less about equipment and more about mental flexibility. Yoonji developed neural link systems that could connect entire battle groups instantly. Soldiers could share tactical information, emotional states, and strategic insights in milliseconds. It was more than communication. It was a complete sharing of consciousness during critical moments. The alien leadership watched these preparations with a mixture of hope and anxiety. They had never seen such comprehensive preparation. Human military doctrine emphasized total readiness. Every soldier was a potential strategic asset, not just a weapon. Weapon systems were completely redesigned. They developed quantum-entangled projectiles that could change direction mid-flight. Defensive systems could now predict and counter enemy attacks before they happened. Each technological improvement came from careful study of human military archives. Hyun Park conducted strategic workshops, teaching alien commanders how humans approached complex conflicts. He emphasized psychological warfare, adaptability, and the importance of understanding the enemy's motivation. It wasn't just about winning battles, but understanding the entire conflict. The most surprising discovery was human resilience. Their military archives showed countless situations where they had overcome impossible odds. Survival was not just about technology, but about mental strength and innovative thinking. Genetic enhancement programs began, carefully incorporating human adaptive strategies. Alien soldiers were trained to think like humans, to see challenges as opportunities, to adapt instantly, and to never accept defeat as a final outcome. Communication protocols were revolutionized. They developed systems that could communicate across multiple frequency bands, encrypt messages in milliseconds, and provide real-time tactical analysis. The Void Swarm would face an enemy they had never encountered before. Satellite networks were repositioned. Stealth technologies were enhanced. Every piece of available technology was modified to incorporate human strategic thinking. The entire defense system was being rebuilt from the ground up. Sang-Min's team worked on adaptive armor systems. They created materials that could change properties instantly, absorbing or deflecting different types of energy. Soldiers could now become living weapons, adapting to battlefield conditions in real time. As preparation continued, a new sense of hope emerged. The alien civilization was no longer waiting to be destroyed. They were preparing to fight back, using technologies and strategies learned from humans who had spent centuries perfecting the art of survival. Hyun Park looked at the transformed military infrastructure and felt a sense of pride. Humanity's legacy would not be forgotten. Their final gift to the universe would be the knowledge of how to survive against impossible odds. The Crimson Nebula burned with an angry red light as the combined human-alien fleet prepared for the most critical battle in galactic history. Hyun Park stood on the command bridge, his eyes locked on the approaching Void Swarm. Thousands of alien ships surrounded him, each now equipped with human-inspired technological innovations. The quantum communication network hummed with anticipation, a living web of strategic consciousness connecting every vessel. The Void Swarm appeared like a massive cloud of darkness, consuming everything in its path. Biomechanical creatures shifted and merged, creating living ships that could adapt and change in milliseconds. They had destroyed countless civilizations, believing no enemy could challenge their superiority. Sangmin's tactical systems began their complex dance. Adaptive weapon protocols activated, creating unpredictable attack patterns that the Void Swarm could not anticipate. Each alien ship now moved like a living organism, changing formation faster than any computer could calculate. Initial contact in 3 minutes, announced the communication officer. Her voice was steady, trained in the new human-inspired communication protocols that emphasized calm under pressure. Hyun Park's strategy was simple but revolutionary. Instead of confronting the Void Swarm directly, they would use the nebula's complex energy fields as a tactical advantage. Human archives had taught them that battlefield environment was as important as weapon systems. The first wave of attack came suddenly. Void Swarm ships transformed, becoming living projectiles that could pierce through traditional defenses. But the human-alien fleet was prepared. Quantum-entangled shields absorbed and redirected the energy, turning the enemy's strength against. Themdok Yunji's communication network allowed instant tactical adjustments. Soldiers could share battlefield information faster than the Void Swarm could process. Every ship became a living sensor, collecting and distributing critical combat data. In milliseconds, explosive bursts of energy illuminated the Crimson Nebula. Alien ships moved with a fluidity never seen before, dancing between massive Void Swarm biomechanical creatures. They were no longer just defending, they were attacking with calculated precision. The battle became a complex three-dimensional chess match. Ships transformed, weapons reconfigured, entire battle groups shifted instantaneously. The Void Swarm found itself facing an enemy that didn't follow any traditional combat rules. Hyun Park watched the holographic displays, making micro-adjustments to the overall strategy. Human military training had taught him that battles were won through adaptation, not just firepower. Each movement was calculated, each decision made with multiple potential outcomes in mind. Quantum weapon systems began targeting the Void Swarm's central consciousness. Instead of destroying individual ships, they attacked the collective intelligence that controlled the entire biomechanical network. It was a strategy pulled directly from human technological archives. Hours passed like minutes. The Crimson Nebula became a massive battlefield of light and energy. Alien ships that would have been destroyed in previous encounters now fought with unprecedented skill and adaptability. The turning point came unexpectedly. A series of coordinated attacks created a cascade failure in the Void Swarm's collective intelligence. Their biomechanical ships began to disconnect, losing the unified consciousness that made them so dangerous. Hyun Park allowed himself a small smile. The human strategies of psychological warfare and adaptive thinking had worked perfectly. They weren't just fighting with technology, but with a completely different approach to conflict. As the battle concluded, the remaining Void Swarm ships retreated. They had encountered an enemy they could not predict, could not understand. The combination of human innovation and alien determination had created something entirely new. The Crimson Nebula fell silent. Billions of lives had been saved. A civilization had been rescued, and humanity's legacy continued, even centuries after their original time. The Galactic Conference Hall buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations watched as Hyun Park prepared to speak. The human who had saved an entire alien confederation now stood as the most important diplomatic figure in known space. "We are not here to conquer," Hyun Park began, his voice calm and measured. "We are here to rebuild and protect." The Interstellar Cooperative Defense Protocol became the foundation of a new galactic order. Humanity, once thought lost to time, had become the unexpected architects of peace. Their technological knowledge and strategic thinking transformed how civilizations approached conflict and cooperation. G1, Kim led the technological exchange programs. Human archives became the most valuable resource in the galaxy. Each recovered file represented a potential solution to complex scientific and social challenges. Civilizations that had been isolated for centuries began sharing knowledge and resources. Yoonji Choi developed communication networks that connected distant star systems. For the first time, civilizations could truly understand each other. Language barriers disappeared, cultural exchanges became instant, and a new era of understanding began. The alien confederation, once on the brink of extinction, now flourished. Billions of lives had been saved. Entire planetary systems that would have been destroyed were now protected by the new defensive protocols developed from human strategies. Sang-Min Lee worked on developing collaborative defense systems. Instead of individual civilizations fighting alone, they would now work together. The lessons learned from human military archives emphasized collective strength over individual power. Genetic restoration programs began. Civilizations that had been nearly destroyed by the Void Swarm started rebuilding their populations. Human medical technologies provided unprecedented solutions for genetic reconstruction and species recovery. The most surprising development came from unexpected sources. Smaller civilizations that had been marginalized found themselves with equal voices in the new galactic system. Humanity's legacy of fighting for the underdog became a fundamental principle of the new order. Educational exchanges became a priority. Young aliens studied human history, learning about a species that had survived multiple global conflicts, environmental challenges, and technological revolutions. Humanity was no longer just a lost civilization, it was a beacon of hope. Planetary restoration projects began across multiple star systems. Technologies developed from human environmental archives helped heal worlds that had been devastated by conflict. Each restored planet became a testament to the power of collective effort. Yun Park oversaw these developments, working tirelessly to ensure a balanced approach. He understood that saving a civilization was more than just winning a battle. It was about creating a sustainable future for everyone. The remaining humans from the Cryo vessel became key advisors. Each brought unique skills and perspectives. They were living bridges between humanity's past and the galaxy's future. Their experiences became critical in developing new social and technological frameworks. Trade routes expanded. Cultural exchanges became common. Civilizations that had been isolated for millennia now worked together. The fear and suspicion that had dominated galactic relations began to dissolve. Scientific breakthroughs came rapidly. Human research archives provided solutions to problems that had stumped scientists for centuries. Medical technologies, energy, production, environmental restoration, every field saw massive improvements. 5 years after the Crimson Nebula battle, the galaxy looked completely different. What had once been a collection of isolated and competing civilizations was now an interconnected network of mutual support and understanding. Hyun Park rarely spoke about the past. When asked about the human civilization that had been lost, he would simply smile and point to the thriving galaxy around him. Humanity's true legacy was not in its past, but in the future it had helped create. The final human message remained clear. Survival is not about individual strength, but about adaptation, cooperation, and hope.